Boom! What up, guys? It's your boy Christopher Barnett here, back at you with another cringeworthy YouTube intro going like this. This once again. This video is going to be a little bit of a mix of things, hopefully like a little vlog type video. I'm going to try to weave in a little bit of a workout and a full breakdown, hopefully a pull workout since I haven't uploaded one of those yet. First off, to kickstart this video, I want to give you guys kind of a life update as to what's going on right now. Fall quarter at UCSB has just ended. I am now back in my hometown for winter break. Winter quarter will be beginning at about, I think, January 5th or January 6th. So at that point, I will be back at UCSB, and I'll be taking more units than I was this past quarter. So with that said, in terms of an injury update, I want to give you guys, I'm going to do that right now. So a couple months ago, maybe a month and a half ago, I put up a video, I think it was like the basketball video where I played with my roommate, and I absolutely destroyed him. But regardless of that, that's not that important right now. I did have a segment of that video where I discussed potential injury, a potential hernia specifically. After that video, I was doing the physical therapy as I had mentioned, and I'm gonna be quite honest, things didn't really get better for me. In fact, they got worse at a certain point. And I ended up going to see an urgent care doctor who referred me to a gastroenterology place. And then I ended up going to the gastroenterology place, and they ended up one of the gastroenterologists thought that I might have irritable bowel syndrome, which I was very skeptical to believe because the main issue, albeit there were some digestion issues that I was having, but the main issue was not that. The main issue was a burning pain in my groin and my low left abdominal wall. But I'm not sure if this is necessarily a gastroenterology issue. That's my point. So he ended up mentioning a CT scan, told me all the risks. I kind of accepted it. I said I would like to go forward with that because I haven't really done anything else at this point, and physical therapy wasn't working. So their staff helped me set up an appointment for that. And then the following couple of days, I ended up having a primary care doctor appointment for a checkup. And he actually wanted me to get an MRI scan before the CT scan, because if I were to get an MRI scan and it were to pinpoint the issue, I would then be able to cancel this CT scan and in effect kind of not get that unnecessary radiation from the CT scan, because MRI doesn't use radiation, CT does. He ended up hooking me up, helping me and his staff get an appointment for the following day after that primary care doctor's appointment, which was super cool, super awesome. So I ended up, following day, I had to go like 20 minutes away from campus on an Uber, and I got my MRI, and I gotta be honest, it was a very interesting experience. This whole process was extremely interesting. This is the one where they have to ask you if you're claustrophobic or if you have metal in your body, and I didn't have metal in my body, and I wasn't claustrophobic. They put me into the tube, and they emphasized to me that I shouldn't move. They told me not to move so as to not distort or blur the images. So I agreed to that. I said, okay, that's understandable, sure. So I ended up picking a very, very, very uncomfortable position. If you guys ever get an MRI, don't put your hand up here, okay? Because if you put your hand up here, or both hands, which is what I did, more than likely one of them or both of them is going to get blood circulation cut off. My right hand ended up getting its blood circulation cut off, so I ended up having like this super numb, like I couldn't even move my hand, and it was like very weird, and I would like just ever so slightly touch it with my left hand and it would feel like cold and like dead. It was a very uncomfortable thing, but oh yeah, when I got up, it was like a dead fish hand. But the great part about this, the truly enriching portion of this, was the ability to listen to music. Despite all the loud noises that the MRI machine makes, they let you put on the headphones that they have, and they ask you what kind of music you'd like to listen to. So naturally, I said Ed Sheeran. That's my favorite music artist. Obviously one of the greatest of all time. And that's just an objective fact. So yeah, that was that. And then I got up. Obviously I had that dead fish hand, but it was super, I don't know, it was kind of long, I will admit. It was like 30 minutes or so. But it was a very interesting process. It really taught me to not move, taught me to be patient. So that was cool. So I ended up getting the results for that the following day. And unfortunately, the doctor was unable to detect anything that would pinpoint my source of pain. He did mention that there might be labral tears in my hip joints, but it would be more prominent on the right side, which would not be a cause of the pain I've been feeling on my left side. We just kind of like ignored those and said, well, we're just gonna go ahead and follow through with the CT scan. So the following week, I ended up getting that CT scan. Voice correct. I ended up getting that CT scan the following week, but Well, first off, this was also quite an experience. I didn't really know that they were gonna hook me up to an IV, but they hooked me up to an IV, and they warned me that they were gonna like be pumping this sometimes like test fluid into me, like to read the scan better. And they said that I was gonna get a lot hotter for like 10 seconds or so. And I was like, okay, and I didn't really understand what they meant, but as soon as the fluid, whatever it was, entered my body, holy moly, my entire body just was in flames. It felt like 10-20 degrees hotter. It was insane, absolutely insane. One of the weirdest experiences and sensations I have ever felt in my life. So I also got a phone call from the gastroenterology place, and they ended up telling me that they really couldn't identify anything else that would pinpoint my source of pain. So I just decided at that point, okay, I guess I'm just gonna continue forward with the physical therapy, even though at certain points it doesn't help, and sometimes I think it worsens it at certain points. But that's what we're doing right now. We're continuing with this. Essentially, what we're trying to do is we're trying to loosen up the quad muscles, because she thinks that my quads are far more developed compared to my core, causing my quads to kind of pull down on my core, creating this kind of anterior pelvic tilt, if that makes sense. But she also says that I need to strengthen my glutes and my lower abdominal region to kind of like combat the imbalance in my quads, the overpowering of my quads, which is something I never thought anyone would say or mention, that my quads were like not two, but that my quads were very developed. I was like, okay, yeah, I think my quads are developed. Yes. Nice. Like, I've been working for this. I used to have twig legs, man. I mean, come on. That was a compliment, but at what cost? Anyways, with that said, that's basically what I'm doing right now. Just working on my physical therapy, progressing with that, and just training and, enjoying life. So, I'm going to take a break right now, probably film a little workout later, and then we'll get some other stuff for this video. So, thanks guys for listening, and this video's not done. Alright guys, so here's my first meal of the day. As you can see, it's nothing too special. Generally speaking, I don't eat this type of food, that big, like, microwavable foods. But we're kind of out of food, so I just kind of picked whatever was in the fridge. But, yeah, I just want to emphasize here that when you're eating, things aren't always going to be perfect. Every single meal won't always be perfect. It's going to be your goal to get every meal in and have every meal be reasonably nutritious and appropriate for your goals. But it's not always going to work out like that. And after I eat this, I might have some eggs, maybe oats if I can, whip up some oats if we have anything to make those with. Just so that you're not always going to eat perfectly. And this is a perfect example. It's not the best meal, but it's a meal. Oats, eggs. So that's what I made right after that first meal. This would be more on the side of what I would usually have for breakfast. I don't usually have frozen meals, just like I said before. This is a little bit better for you. It's going to be this is a meal more tailored to a bodybuilding or weight training or weightlifting kind of lifestyle. So I'm going to eat this, but I'm not going to be able to record myself eating this because I want to watch one of my favorite shows, Boston Legal, on Hulu right now, which is going to be on my phone. So yeah, I'm going to enjoy this meal, and we're going to head over to the gym in just 1 second.
I know it's been hard, but you've made it this far. No, I'm the one who's giving it up.
Alright guys, so I am at the gym now at an LA Fitness here. As you can see, what I'm doing right now is I'm doing a lot of warm-up work. This is actually part of my rehab routine that my physical therapist recommended for me. Doing a lot of core work, a little bit of glute work, and kind of foam rolling out those quads to help loosen those up. I just find that these are just really good warm-ups, even if you don't have my particular injury, whether, you know, whatever it is. Alright, so the first one on our list is going to be wide grip lat pull-downs. Now, there are going to be a number of things that I want you guys to focus on, and there's going to be a lot of pointers that I want you to keep in mind when you were doing these. So the first thing that I particularly like to do is I like to have a hook grip. I find that putting your thumb where your kind of your fingers are really helps you kind of eliminate that forearm involvement, as well as reduce that bicep involvement in the motion. I also like to keep my chest up high, and I kind of tilt my back just a little bit to help get a nice squeeze and contraction. And the latissimus dorsi muscles, also known as lats, are going to be the main primary muscle group involved in this exercise. What you really want to focus on here is really getting that nice contraction and the nice stretch of the lats. So I want you to visualize driving your elbows back. It's almost kind of like a, if you could like think about it, you would like try to drive your elbows back to where they're touching each other. Obviously you physically can't do that, but that's kind of the goal and like what you're trying to do. You're trying to squeeze your shoulder blades back together and really squeeze those lats away. I really believe that lat pull downs are especially great for that V-taper look, to get that kind of V shape, that classic V shape. So the next one we have on our list is going to be a little bit more of a kind of heavier movement. We're going to be doing barbell rows. Now, me personally, I don't have a preference of overhand or underhand. It kind of depends on your specific goals. If you do upper hand, it's going to work more that kind of upper portion of the back. And if you do underhand, it's going to be more of that lower portion of the back. The main muscles are going to be the lats, however, and the traps and the rhomboids, with the secondary muscles, you know, probably being biceps and the posterior deltoids. Now with this one, I think a little bit of momentum is okay, as long as it's not purely jerking the bar. And I find that getting a nice, solid, consistent tempo and rhythm going really helps, and really helps with the burn. Now, a particular technique that I like to use is if I do fail prematurely, I'll just like let the weight down and I'll pump out a couple of pendley rows, just essentially a bent over barbell row, but from the ground, from like a dead stop on the ground. So I want you to do those heavier sets first, and then kind of do a little bit of a lighter set, get more blood pumping in to the muscles. This is really going to help with that thickness in the back and that overall posterior chain density. Alright, so the next one that's going to be on our list is going to be more of an isolation exercise for your biceps. This next one is called Incline Dumbbell Curls. Now, depending on how much of a stretch you want, how hard you want it to be, that's going to dictate what kind of incline you go for and what's kind of comfortable for you. I usually go up anywhere from 1 to 3 notches above the flat bench, and what you really want to focus on, again, this is an isolation movement, so you don't want to do a lot of, you know, momentum jerking type motions. You really want to just focus on moving that elbow joint. That's the only joint that should really be moving in this exercise. And what I don't want to see from you guys is like kind of swinging your shoulder up forward, because that's going to bring your anterior delts or your front delts into the equation. And obviously being a bicep curl, this is, you know, would defeat the purpose. Again, at the top, you want to focus on that peak contraction, really squeeze that bicep, and you want to have a nice controlled eccentric contraction on the way to the bottom. This is going to maximize blood flow to the bicep and promote the most muscular gains you can for your bicep. Next up on our list is going to be wide grip pull-ups. Now, you can do any kind of variation of pull-ups you want. I generally like to go with wide grip because I like to have wide lats. With your pull-up, a couple of key pointers similar to the pull down. I want you guys to focus on keeping your chest up. And again, you want to bring your elbows back, kind of retracting that scapula and just driving your elbows back and behind you. And again, similarly with the barbell row and the lat pull down, you could also implement a hook grip in order to reduce that forearm and bicep involvement a little bit. Now, at this point in the workout, I don't expect you guys to be pumping out 20 pull-ups, maybe not even 10 pull-ups. What you want to do is you just want to go to failure and focus on quality of contraction. Now, generally speaking, the quality of the reps is far more important than just, you know, the quantity of reps. Doesn't necessarily need to be a perfect kind of Marine Corps pull-up where you go chin above the bar and then all the way down, elbows fully extended. That is certainly a great kind of like test of strength, a great test of muscular endurance. However, that is not necessarily the best bodybuilding technique, because you ultimately end up taking tension off of the latissimus dorsi muscle. In effect, you're going to recruit a lot more bicep and forearm, but for this, you guys want to focus mostly on that lat muscle group. Now our last exercise is going to be a killer for your biceps. We're going to do 3 heavier sets of close grip easy bar curls, followed by 2 40 to 60 second sets of obviously lighter weight. What I like about this kind of strategy, this training strategy, is that it helps you target a little bit of type 2 muscle fibers with those heavier sets, and then a little bit of type 1 muscle fibers with those longer duration sets. I find that mixing up the rep schemes and the types of intensity strategies is really beneficial to maximize fatiguing all of those muscle fibers. So with this last one, when you're doing your 40 to 60 second sets, this one is not necessarily about perfect contractions. This one is more about getting that blood flow and just keep pumping out those reps. In fact, some exercises I will emphasize, perfect, absolute perfect form and really controlled contractions. However, there are going to be times when I emphasize the reps, just pump it out, pump it out, pump it out, and force as much blood into the muscle as possible. And the last thing I want to mention, particularly with these curls, is that the close grip will help target that outer bicep region as well as the brachialis and a little bit of those forearms, more so than, say, wider grip easy bar curl. Alright, and then as you can see right here, guys, I'm just doing a little bit of posing practice. And I get a lot of inspiration from C-Bum, of course, the champ, one of my favorite bodybuilders of all time. And as you can see here, this is something I'd like to mention. Obviously, I'm a natural athlete, and I'm into natural bodybuilding. Certainly, I am a fan of, C-Bum and like all the big guys. However, to achieve those naturally, it's very unlikely. Sometimes there are genetically blessed people, but that's the thing about natural bodybuilding though, is that sometimes in certain poses and certain settings, you'll look freaky, you'll look super pumped, you'll look super good, and then at other times, you might look like you don't even work out, or you're like, oh, you're a bodybuilder? Like, you know what I'm saying? It's not about becoming that aggressive, just like be the best in the world sometimes. Sometimes it's just about personal growth and become the best version of yourself that you can be. I do plan to compete again sometime in the future, maybe at 19 or so. But as of right now, I'm just enjoying training, helping other people. So that was the full pull workout, guys. Now I would like to emphasize that it might seem like a shorter workout, but you have to bear in mind that I am doing a push-pull legs routine. So having said that, I can't necessarily go all out in each session because there's only 2 days of recovery in between the times that I train each muscle. So I certainly hope you guys enjoyed this workout video. I certainly hope you guys follow this workout routine for at least 1 session. With that said, guys, thank you so much for watching. It's always a blessing to make these videos for you guys and to help share some of that knowledge and experience that I've accumulated over the past few years. So that's it, guys. Make sure to click the subscribe button, turn on post notifications, like, comment, and as always, stay gold, kings and queens.